Okay, y'all. So let's talk about this. It's Wednesday night. Y'all know what that means. Tonight is Dynamite. But check this out, y'all. I find this really, really funny. And you know I'm looking forward to Dynamite tonight. I'm going to have fun sitting there and watch the show in the comfort of my own home and have a ball. And I find this really funny because last night, I almost made the video last night, but I said, nah, I'll make it. I'll wait. I'll just wait. So there was these two guys. They were talking about the Continental Classic. And they were talking about this John Cena Classic. And they were laughing at it. Everybody was laughing at it. I'm laughing at it. I mean, even just the fact that you have a title that anybody can win the title, even if they lose, it's who the fans want as the champion. So earning it means nothing. All right, now check this out. One of the guys, he was reading some articles, right, from different people. And in the articles he read, one of them basically they had this one guy who he has a gaming type of thing on Twitch and all that. I don't really do Twitch. I used to watch certain things, but I don't even have Twitch anymore. I just don't have a purpose for Twitch. But anyway, he was saying some things, right? And he read how this guy was constantly always talking about everything WWE has. Like, for example, well, how they copy things from people, but they get the credit for it. Now, for example, how many times have you seen a video game that has nothing to do with WWE, but it's a wrestling game? Someone will make a video and it'll say all WWE finishers on the game called this or that, right? Whatever, right? But then it's like, no. That wasn't invented by WWE wrestlers. WWE wrestlers stole those moves from guys, men and women on the indies. But they get the notoriety. Which is why you can have Andre the Giant versus Hulk Hogan. And Gorilla Monsoon can tell you, first time ever, the immortal Hulk Hogan versus Andre the Giant. No, it wasn't. Wasn't even the second or third time. They fought many times. All of these guys, if you go way back right now, example, every company that does this is because of chemistry. But WWE just love to lie. You go back right now, type in like the Dingo Warrior or Blade Runner Rock versus Ted DiBiase or Ravishing Rick Rude, right? Macho Man Randy Savage. People that they had feuds with years before they came to WWE. So therefore, there's a chemistry there. We know how to work with each other, that type of thing. You see it all the time. And you go, damn, these guys were actually wrestling before each other. Yeah. OVW, was it John Cena versus Brock Lesnar? They wrestled so many times before they finally both made it to WWE. But people don't know this. So you see that game, and for people that don't know, they'll go, oh, this game stole all WWE finishers. The content creator either does this on purpose to make you think that that's the case, or they just are not aware and they're irresponsible and making videos with false information, because I've seen so many different moves, so many things that was created that we've seen, put like this, we're seeing come from the indies. And then all of a sudden, a bigger promotion will have somebody in their company copy that move. So now all of a sudden, you see all WWE finishers. No. Okay, another thing that got my attention was this. How many times have you heard people at WrestleMania, Wrestle Talk, all these other big channels? Oh, who cares about tournament wrestling? Everything that AEW was building. And they didn't realize they're building a strong foundation And that foundation is not going to be square, it's circular. So everything goes through smoothly through a 12-year calendar. They didn't see that at the time. I grew up watching Japanese wrestling, so tournaments is something I always loved. I loved when they had the Crockett Cup in the NWA. So I always was into it. You got people that say, I hate tag team wrestling. Okay, good. That's your problem. They got to do with anybody else, right? Because they don't want anybody else to support tag team wrestling. Well, that being said, right, I'm sitting here going, all of these people, let's just, all of them, every one of them, nobody cares about tournaments, right? Because they got the Owen, they got the Continental Classic. Now they got this tournament, this World Cup thing that's going on before the Continental Classic starts again. So some interesting things are going to happen as far as I'm concerned, and I'm here for it. But isn't it funny how all of a sudden now the King of the Ring has never had any prestige to it? It's just something that they half-ass did. Let's throw something else to them, right? The Sherry Martel Classic. Now all of a sudden, the John Cena Classic, right? Why is all of a sudden WWE so interested in tournaments? Y'all never thought about that? What? Why? Why are they all of a sudden now so interested in tournaments? King of the Ring was never consistent. No matter what there's no tournament that they've ever had that was consistent. None. But now all of a sudden, they're bringing all these tournaments. Yeah. Why? Oh, they see the results, right? And now here with the counter programming, once again, who cares? It's not going to harm AEW at all. So they want to run the Continental Classic. AEW has the Continental Classic late November, December, or something like that, from November through December, somewhere like that, late November through December, and somewhere in that midst, WWE. I know Tony Khan's like, what is that shit? The John Cena Classic, what? Yeah, it's hilarious. So they're going to run it around the same time. And every time WWE decides to do this, you want to know what the world of wrestling learned? Yet again, that there's no comparison between these two companies. AEW absolutely kills it. Whereas WWE just thinks that because they're the WWE, that they give you a show and you're supposed to just like it. Let me give you guys an example of something. You know, when they had Double or Nothing. Now, way before Double or Nothing, AEW was already knocking it out the park. But Double or Nothing was the pay-per-view that made people go, damn, I got to stop hating. Because that's all I'm doing is hating. I got to stop. This company is off the chain, man. This company really is dynamite. And ever since then, you keep seeing now with, even just think about it, AEW working closely with CMLL. AEW goes and acquires AAA. WWE works heavily with New Japan. I was hoping that they do something with that they're able to do something with Pro Wrestling Noah as well, some more Stardom. But yeah, right now think about what I'm saying. WWE has never had a strong Japanese base. Like they've never had anything where every Japanese wrestler that they have is like, you know, they just have them, but they don't really do much. So now I'm hearing about what's this guy, the one that comes out dancing and shit, up in the, you know what I'm talking about. I forget his goddamn name, but he basically is supposed to be forming a new group now all of a sudden, right? But I'm just sitting here laughing because I'm just like, I get a clear feeling from that Tony Khan is not concerned about WWE at all. I'm pretty sure he pays attention to what everybody's doing. But he's going to do his thing. He's not concerned about what they're doing. He's not worried about it. WWE is terrified of AEW. So when I look at Not only is AEW on fire, and they just added, I forget, it's another indies company they added to my AEW app. Look, I hope I get, listen, there's more companies. And when you see like ACW, there's like 4 companies that's labeled ACW, but they all, of course, stand for something else. You know, the first word in the, you know, broken down in there is you know, like action, whatever, championship wrestling or something, or whatever, you know, whatever. But bottom line, I got a list of it. It's 4 that I see so far. So if I say, hey, check out ACW, you may be confused and go, wait, damn, this is not the same company. It's 4 different ones. But anyway, I'm sitting here and I'm looking at, now let's just think. Here's a company in the WWE that tries to make people feel small. Remember when Booker T was arguing with Bully Ray, and they were talking about who was the greatest tag team of all time, Harlem Heat or the Dudleys, and they were talking about how many times they won ECW championships, and Booker T goes, that's regional. And I'm like, you guys are so big-headed, man. It's so full of trash. And you think everything that comes into wrestling, that's supposed into the genre of wrestling is only supposed to be prosperous if they come to the WWE. Like, you don't want to see other companies grow. I'm convinced 1,000% on that. And, you know, Booker T is a bootlicker too, because he should know better than that. No, just like when they had WCW, that's where his black ass was, along with his brother Stevie Ray. Okay, along with Stevie Ray. And it's obvious WWE didn't care for Stevie Ray. You know, the Harlem Heat thing didn't continue there. He disappeared when WCW went away. So you were able to make money and become champion over there. So without WCW, you don't know what your career would have been like. You don't know what you would have done. And I think without WCW, Booker T wouldn't be who he is right now. And even who he is right now, they still, overall, if you look at him, they made him a goofball. But listen, when he says that, just think about it. For every wrestler that gets up, kiss their babies goodbye in the morning or whatever, their wife or however, their husbands, whatever, however it goes, they're sacrificing every bit as much as these rich wrestlers. Whether they're in AEW or WWE or anywhere else. But they're sacrificing every bit as much. And for you to have somebody say, oh man, you just won regional titles, you ain't do nothing. You sound really stupid, especially when you're talking about a genre that's not an actual sport, but a scripted play. Because you can put the belt on anybody. You don't just learn how to wrestle because, all of a sudden you go to WWE. I mean, y'all can't get enough of insulting Jade Cargill, right? And she didn't go straight to NXT like Jordan Grace did, like Mariah May did. No, she came straight to SmackDown. Straight to SmackDown. And what did she do when she went straight to SmackDown? She got insulted by you guys. So now all of a sudden, you're going to shit on these indies wrestlers? Like their accomplishments don't mean nothing. Same way they didn't had broken arms and dislocated shoulders and all this and that and in and out the hospital. And they're not making the big money yet. But you want to speak like what they did meant nothing. Now, when you grab people off the street, bring them to the Performance Center, and they learn everything step by step through the Performance Center under your guidance, well, even then you shouldn't try to talk trash, and you can't shit on them regardless. But at least in that sense, you can at least say, hey man, we created this person from scratch. They knew nothing. Right? We brought them here. Yeah. But no, these people out here grinding. So these same little small independent companies that you don't have a problem with offering a contract to these guys and bringing them in, right? But you constantly talk. You constantly talk about how big the WWE is. You want to know something about the WWE? And I laugh at this, and people don't seem to get this. All NXT is a developmental fucking company that pretty much people either gonna wind up going to AEW after they stay in NXT or WWE or TNA or MLW, NWA possibly. You know what I mean? But bottom line is, NXT isn't even seen as a brand of like, it really means anything. Other than just you get to start here. This is exactly why it's an insult when you bring a person like Jordan Grace there, who's a 13-year veteran in this sport. And she's in there getting beat by people that's been wrestling 5-6 years. Then y'all want to talk about Jade Cargill not being this. And no, they don't know how to use Jade Cargill. You know, when a guy comes into boxing, some people, you could be a 3-time Golden Gloves champion. You know, you could be a gold medal Olympic champion. You might go to the pros and suck. You might go to the pros and you might, you know, be one of the baddest boxers in the sport at the time, right? But you market them right. You push them right. You got a guy who might not have no experience at all, you know, in the amateurs, in or the Olympics at all. Never go to the Olympics. And in the amateurs, you know, it might be a thing with a guy that don't really have an amateur background. He just learned how to box, you know, in the gym. And he was in that gym for a while. And he might know somebody, but he spars with pros. And he spar a lot of rounds, he get experience. And next thing you know, they put those guys, they end up, you know, their first fight in the pros, you know, without having any real amateur experience. But you don't go put them in there with the very best person in the you know in the weight class, in the division. So when you look at the guy and say, well, look at Lomachenko. No, Lomachenko had over 300 and something fucking amateur fights, and that's the thing. He had these fights, as opposed to somebody who just trains in the gym and fight against, they spar against other you know, top level fighters, and then they're ready. But you build everybody gradually, regardless to their level of experience. When they're in there and they're good and they're showing that, hey, that person's legit, but you still don't put them in there with the very best person yet. In pro wrestling, it's all scripted. Roman Reigns is like the man in WWE, and he's half-ass average as fuck, and he always has been and always will be. It all depends on who they want to put the belt on. Anyway, AEW is going to spank that ass again. It's really simple. And WWE, they just are obsessed with trying to get rid of AEW, but they can't. That's all I got for you guys now. Catch you guys on the next video. Anything you want me